Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Commonsense Africa podcast. I'm your host, Ugo Chukwumokoro, and thank you for joining us. Today, I'm going to talk about Ukraine, Russia, and what is going on. Folks, let's tell each other the truth. What is happening between Russia and Ukraine today has been brewing for years at the United Nations, the UN. You know, the undemocratic reason that allows five countries to be permanent members of the UN Security Council is actually the problem. That's what is causing this problem because by allowing those five countries to be permanent members of the UN with veto powers, the rest of the world is questioning that. So what Russia is doing to Ukraine today, America has done it. Great Britain has done it. France has done it. China has done it. So the only difference, with what is happening today is because Russia is doing it to a country that NATO members, which also comprises of three of those superpowers, Great Britain, France, and of course America. So over the years, America has done the same thing. America has gone to Iraq. America has invaded countries, has destroyed countries, and nobody has said anything. While this thing is going on, the other five or four members of the that are the five superpowers that are members of the UN Security Council that enjoyed veto, they all sat and looked at America. You know, they looked at America invade Iraq. America has invaded other countries, overthrown uh, presidents or heads of states of countries, and nobody has said anything. So they all sit aside and watch when one of their members, one of their exclusive member of the five superpower uh, UN permanent members. So Russia is not doing anything different from what America has done in Iraq, or from what NATO has done in Libya, or from what China has done also to other countries. So the problem now is Russia is doing it because America and NATO have interest in Ukraine. So that's what is happening. So instead, because they are not just sitting aside and allowing Russia to, decimate Ukraine because they have interest. But the thing is, as much as they support Ukraine, they are not trying to go to war with Russia. Why is that? Because they have nuclear weapons. So nuclear weapon is a deterrent, is the reason why America, Great Britain, France, and the rest of them are not facing Russia. But if we are another country that does not have a nuclear power or nuclear, uh, they will go to war. They will go to war with that country. But they are not doing that. So now, what are they saying? America, NATO, they are watching Russia decimate, Russia uh, basically wipe Ukraine off the map. They're not doing anything. They're giving them weapons. They're doing that, but they can stop Russia from that. But they're not doing that. Why? Because Russia is a superpower. Russia has nuclear weapons. So what are they saying? Are they now encouraging other countries to aspire to have nuclear weapon? Because obviously it's a deterrent, you know? So now the most annoying thing is this. Those five superpowers, five members of the UN Security Council that claim that they are supposed to be responsible countries are the very irresponsible countries. America is the only country that has dropped nuclear weapon on another country, killed so many. Russia now just shot at a nuclear plant in Ukraine. So those countries that claim that they are responsible superpowers are the very irresponsible countries themselves. France has gone to war, or up to date is still raping and stealing from francophone West African countries, stealing their resources. What is that? That is irresponsibility. So what is happening now has been brewing because I mean you can't tell me that uh, The UN could not resolve what is going on. But they purposely neutralize UN. UN doesn't have any power, it's so dysfunctional. And that's why they formed NATO. NATO to kind of like be the supreme power that would, but unfortunately, Russia and China are not members of NATO. They are on their own. So NATO was formed to kind of counter, you know, the to be the supreme power, so that if UN does not, NATO would defend their members. But unfortunately, Russia and China started disagreeing with their other members of the five permanent members of the UN Security Council. Then NATO stepped in. But unfortunately for NATO, Russia can stand her own. China can stand her own. So now they've started having divisions. If all the five superpowers would agree, we would not be having this problem. But because they don't agree, because they do not agree, that is why we are having this issue. So America is afraid to go to war with China because China is a nuclear power. America is afraid of going to war with China, quote unquote. They don't want to start the third world with Russia because they don't want to start the third world war. And Russia doesn't want to go to war with America. So now, that being the case, what are they saying? Are they saying that, oh, any country now that has a nuclear weapon is off the limit? That is a true deterrent. So if that is the case, since the rest of the world are not assured of their own safety, isn't that right for other countries to not aspire to have nuclear weapons? Because it's the only deterrent. The only two countries that I know that are responsible with their nuclear weapons are India and Pakistan. It's obvious they have it as a deterrent. India has not attacked Pakistan. Pakistan has not attacked India. But the other ones are using it to oppress and uh, to to uh, to take over other countries. NATO didn't think twice to drop all the bombs they dropped in Libya and overthrew Gaddafi. America didn't think twice before they went to Iraq under false, information of weapons of mass destruction. Meanwhile, they have the real weapon of mass destruction, the nuclear weapons. So my question is this: if it had been any country in Africa that Russia, is decimating like is decimating Ukraine today, who would come to our rescue? Who would come to that African country's rescue? Nobody, because Africa is not aligned with any country, with any of these powers, any of the superpowers. So Russia will have, hey, free will to do whatever they want to do with that African country. Let's say it's China, you know. But France has been doing that in Francophone West African countries. Nobody has complained, you know. So now I think there's a new world order. The world is realigning. So while America and the other, France and Great Britain are in NATO, what happens if China and Russia form their own alliance and let's say Iran joins them? So, folks, the reason why I'm saying this is that the world has to be very careful. It's either we play it fairly or to your tents, O Israel. Every country should do their own thing, and America will not have the moral, reason to condemn any country or NATO or the five superpowers. I mean, think about this. While this thing is going on, Russia still sits at the presidency of the UN Security Council. What a joke! The UN has become a joke in this whole thing because these countries that call themselves the five superpowers do not want to play it fair. They don't want to be democratic with the operations of the UN. They want to continue to be the supreme powers. But yet, they stand in the way of other countries developing their own, reason, their own nuclear power or nuclear armaments that will make them to be, respected or to deter other countries from attacking them. So what are we saying? I think we need to go back and redraw the Charter of the UN and have countries respect each other and possibly do away with all these nuclear weapons. Because it is so unfair to watch Russia destroy Ukraine. America doesn't want to stop Russia, France, Great Britain, and the rest of them. And then you have China that is just standing on the side. So why don't we, or why can't these countries, rally around and then say the right thing to Russia, or then face Russia head on? No, they wouldn't do that because everybody's afraid it's going to start the World War, Third World War. Russia is going to release their nuclear weapons and the whole world will be destroyed. But meanwhile, Ukraine is being destroyed. So, folks, we need to, walk towards peace. Peace is the answer. It's not about supremacy. It's not about this. It's not about that. They are waiting for Russia to finish destroying Ukraine, then before they start rebuilding. Folks are dying. Hospitals are being destroyed. The elderly are being dragged around for whatever reason. All because folks do not want to respect the sovereignty of other countries. They don't want other countries to thrive. So my concern is about Africa. Now let's ask the big question. Africa, where do you stand in all this? Like I asked earlier, if it had been African country that any of these 5 superpowers is destroying, is decimating, who would have come to our rescue? Who would have come to Africa's rescue? This is the question. So isn't it time for Africa to really think twice when you go to UN, to Jamboree, or to do whatever? Think twice. Start your own organization, military organization, defense organization, so that if anything like this happens to Africa, Africa can defend herself. But now Africa is so vulnerable because they will jump in and out of Africa, destroy and go. They did it in Libya and some other places, especially in the Francophone West Africa. So Africa, this is the time for us to really think and begin to protect our own. It's coming. It's just a matter of time before they'll start fighting each other. And guess what? They'll come, back to Africa to begin to take turns again, to steal, to pillage, so we don't have any alignment. Africa doesn't have any alignment with anybody. So Africa, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. It is coming. And I'm really concerned that if we don't do the right thing, hey, I don't even want to say the merchant ship is going to come. They are coming with force and they're just going to take over Africa. Africa, think. Africa, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, and wake up. Thank you, and God bless you.